think about your script before you start recording. That's always a good thing.
HoonTV!
So anyway, with the drag car, what I've been doing with this is, obviously there's no tracks open at the moment. There is roll racing happening, which is great. I've been messing around with it. We had it on the dyno a little while ago, you would have seen the video. And the big problem that we had, and well, not really a big problem, just the problem we had was, well, two. The fuel pumps were too small and the wastegate was too small. So I've gone from the Walbro 342 fuel pumps to the 465s, I believe it is. So I've got 3 of them in there now. And with the wastegate, the problem with that is that it was running, which is a great wastegate, but a TurboSmart 48mm Pro Gate, which is the one that's had on it the whole time. But obviously, having never had the thing run or driven under power before, we'd never really been able to test it. It was probably too small at the time, but I figured being a drag car, you're never really going to want to run low boost anyway, so I figured it'd be alright, but just controlling it was hard for decks on the dyno. So I've got the turbo manifold off and the turbo apart. I'm just sort of investigating what to do there. Best plan of attack at the moment is to probably go for a 60mm TurboSmart gate, which is going to really open it up. Means I've got to modify the turbo manifold, new dump pipe off the turbo, like a screamer pipe off the wastegate. And plumbing wise, it'll all be the same. The other thing I'm doing right now, while I've got an itchy nose, is I've got the throttle body off, and I've also got the throttle cable loose and all that, because it's a good opportunity at the moment to convert it from original cable throttle to fly-by-wire. It's only a little bit of wiring to get all that working, which should only take an hour or so, but it just means a lot more tunability, a lot more idle control, that sort of stuff. Dex did an amazing job of tuning it anyway, the way it was, but I think he's looking forward to being able to tune it with fly-by-wire. At the moment, I've been looking at the options for throttles, and LS throttle was probably a good sort of fit because it's nice and low, but size-wise it's too big because the inlet manifold there's about 84mm because the original adapter that was put on there. So this is an FG turbo manifold, but it's got an adapter on there for the hypertune throttle body that was on it. The manifold was then extrude honed, and then obviously we added a second row of injectors to it, and that was a big thanks to Cam from Solid Engineering for helping me out with that. It was a pretty big job, but he did an amazing job of welding it all up for me and helping get everything in place. So pretty lucky with that. I think the option at the moment is to go for the Bosch Motorsport 82mm throttle body. They're pretty readily available, so that's going to be the option there. And pedal wise, I've got plenty of choices, but I think I'll end up with like a Commodore or a Falcon pedal or something like that. So nice and neat and simple, and yeah, so we'll just have a look around here. But the main reason for this video though is the one thing that I've done recently is to add a fire system, and that's from Tony and the crew at Motorsport Race Gear, formerly known as Speedmaster. I personally never wanted to, and I'm glad I haven't driven this car without a fire system on it. It is heartbreaking seeing cars burn. It can be the most minor fault or something that goes wrong and you could almost lose a whole car. So I've seen it personally twice now, and yeah, totally heartbreaking experience, and it's not something I'd want for myself either, because rebuilding a car after you've done all that work to it's not only really demoralising and depressing, but it's very expensive as well, especially or if you can salvage it. But I'll give you a look around, show you the fire system, and obviously not set it off, but show you how it works and how much of an advantage it is to have something like that in the car. Okay, first and foremost, mind the harnesses and junk there, but inside the car we have a nice big bottle right there. I believe that's a 10-pound bottle, and that bottle basically comes in and feeds this valve here, and the valve here has, this is the remove before racing. You pull that one out, and then basically if there's a fire in the vehicle, this one here just gets yanked. And we're also going to be adding a cable system to this as well. The good thing is inside here there's a little glass pill as well, so if the fire does manage to get to that, it will actually set the thing off by itself, especially if the driver or occupants are unconscious and unable to do it themselves, or if there's a cable on the outside and nobody can get to it in time. So it's just a little bit of extra added safety there. From there I've got 4 nozzles
in the car. So we've got the feed from the bottle up to the valve, and then this line here comes up under the dash and in the back there. That one goes into the engine bay, I'll show you that in a second. This one here cruises around the front here. That one goes up, and that one basically squirts the wiring loom and computer and all that sort of stuff if there's an electrical fire. And then I have another line here which goes up and through the rear firewall. And that one's aimed at the battery and the fuel tank. Come around the back here and show you where that one is. So there you go, there's the battery there, fuel tank, and a little nozzle. So that should be a nice wide spray pattern there, just in case any fire gets to the battery or the fuel tank. In the engine bay, and obviously there's no turbo there at the moment or throttle body or anything like that, but one comes from inside there. Obviously I've got the water to air intercooler there, no plumbing on it at the moment, but got two nozzles here on a T-piece. This one here is aimed pretty much at the injectors, just in case there's a fuel leak over here in this area. And then the other one's aimed pretty much at the turbo. So at the hot side and the fuel side of the engine. So pretty much got all bases covered there. Yeah, like I said, nobody wants to see anyone's car catch on fire. Really horrible thing to happen, and yeah, it's what people honestly call cheap insurance, putting one of them in your car. I mean, building a race car is fun when you're buying all the shiny, sexy, go fast parts, but there's also a lot of parts that you got to put into a race car that aren't very fun or exciting or even seen. But more often than not, they're the ones that are the really important ones. And a fire system is adding weight to your car and all that sort of thing, but it is cheap insurance. So I can't recommend it enough, and really hope that if you're ever in a situation where you need one, then you've got one in your car and you've done the right thing. So yeah, for more information on them, head to the website link below. I'll put all Tony's details there, but yeah, he's a guru with those things. He's been supporting the Australian motorsports community for a long time, not just with fire systems but other stuff. So yeah, like even a lot of the World Time Attack Pro Class cars and that have got his systems. So check out the link, and feel free to drop him a line, tell him HoonTV sent you, and we'll see you soon. Hopefully I'll be bolting bits back on and then looking to go to the dyno. So quick update video for you. Right, so there's the wastegate. That's the original one there, 48mm wastegate, and I believe the 48mm in the valve there. I think it's about 45 across here. As you can see here, I've got the 6-boost turbo manifold, total work of art. This is one they built a long time ago as well, and look at that, just absolutely sexy, and they just keep getting better and better and better. I mean, Kyle is a guru. This wastegate pipe was put on separately by a workshop that did it for me. Sadly, it's a bit hard to get a GoPro in there, but the pipe on the side there is a little bit undersized as well, so that's not helping me out at all. But to go for a bigger wastegate, gonna have to basically cut that off the manifold there. And there's two options here. Anyone who knows about wastegate plumbing and stuff like that, we can either run it off the side here, either that, or we can basically put a hole in the side of this. It is a bit of a tricky job because you need to preheat them and then run wastegate pipe off there somehow so the wastegate sits near the exhaust. So two options. Probably don't need to worry too much about low boost control like you would on a race car, like a circuit car, but I think I'm just going to end up lopping this off and then going for
a larger pipe there to accommodate the bigger gate. That's where I'm at with that. And obviously, like I said, this, even though it's an absolute sexy bit of gear from the guys at Hypertune, no longer going to be running this because obviously it is a cable driven throttle, so no need for this one anymore. Yeah, that's where we're at. Another thing I've done too is I had this steering wheel on it and absolutely hated it. It just looks like something you'd have in a tractor. I know it's a speedway wheel, but seemed like a good idea at the time. Just every time I looked in the car I was like, ugh. Just looked like crap, and it felt like crap too. So had the little buttons there for trans brake and line locker. So what I've done instead is, and I know it's not a real one because you can tell by the colour of the stitching and the logo, but I have this. It is a replica Nardi wheel, and nice comfy wheel. Got the little button plate there, and 2 different colour buttons on it, and the quick release. So much nicer wheel, going to be nicer to drive with I think as well, but and then the curly cord which hooks everything up. But yeah, Spec 2D in Melbourne, he's the guy that hooked me up with that little button plate as well, so yeah, thanks to him. And last but not least, before the GoPro runs out,
That's the World of Luma Stars. Got all the bolts out at the moment, just giving them a bit of love, and changing the tyres, going for something slightly different, but look forward to showing you what that looks like.